win. Last night's run of the night delivered a 5th walk-off win in the last 6 on the homestand. Now they're 20 games above 500, 7 ahead in the East, and riding a league best 10 straight wins. This weekend they face the Giants, but don't be surprised if the Nats make the big splash at the finish. What a homestand it's been. 7 straight for the Nats. 10 in a row overall. Giants in town, yeah. How you doing, Denard? He's doing great. Rendon hitting behind him. The guys are cooking and providing power for the visiting Giants. The former Nat, our buddy Michael Morse. Giants have won 67 games. They're 3.5 behind the Dodgers. The Nats keep pulling a miracle off every night. Have you ever seen a run like this? Because both of us have covered some pretty good ball clubs over the years.
I've never seen anything like this. It's been walk-off city, this homestand. It's just unbelievable what we've seen on a nightly basis. People are calling the walk-offington Nationals with what we've seen lately. It's a different guy every day. It's a different thing every day, and who knows what's in store on a crazy Friday night.
7 different batters have been at plate for these walk-off wins lately. Kind of crazy, moving things around. 2 of the top 5 pitching staffs in the league. The Nats #1, the Giants #5. The matchups are spectacular.
Yeah, big-time matchups for the series. It starts tonight. Doug Fister really established himself as the #1 on this staff when you look at the numbers. And I saw today that he works as fast as anybody in baseball. And you see Jordan Zimmerman in the next one, Steven Strasburg. I mean, these matchups are as good as they get. Tim Hudson tonight's been scuffling. He's lost 3 of his last 5 starts, so we'll see what happens.
And Doug Fister and the Giants know each other pretty well. 7 innings, no runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts against them earlier this year. That was June 10th, where the Nats took 3 out of 4 at AT&T Park. They also met during the 2012 World Series. Doug pitched well, lost that game. This should be some kind of weekend. 5 walk-off in the last 6 games. The wins for the Nats. Astros in a championship season had 5 straight in '86. The Nats have tied a franchise record. It's a new Washington Nationals record for 10 in a row and 9 straight at home. The Nats are on a 7-0 homestand. And by the way, during those 10 games in a row, 7 of them 1-run affairs, and their pitching has been fantastic. 1.34. Visit trainsearch.com. Find your local Train Comfort Specialist dealer. Hard to stop a train, really hard. So it's 74%. Threat of rain all afternoon here. The tarp was on the field after 4:05 in the afternoon. No problem so far. Buster Posey. He's the best road hitter in the National League at .335 right now. 0 for 3 career against Doug Fister. And Michael Morse down there in the number 5 spot. He's hit 16 homers and driven in 57 for the Giants, who are 15 games over, 3.5 back of the 15 games over 500 Dodgers.
A two-seam fastball for Fister, 87. Slider, curveball, the off-speed pitches to go with a changeup at 79. And last start, he got a no decision in the 11 innings, 6-5 win against Pittsburgh. Guess what? It was a walk-off. He went 7 innings, 2 unearned runs, gave up just 5 singles, struck out 5 Pirates, and walked 1 through 97 pitches.
Angel Pagan, 5 for his last 15 over 3 ball games. He's back healthy. Big thing for the Giants. He missed 44 games with back inflammation. Hitting at .300. He's a .281 career hitter. Been very consistent for San Francisco in his 3 years, and Denard Span can't get it. Base hit.
Let's set the defense for the Nats tonight behind Doug Fister. Standard, Harper, Spanworth, your outfield. Desmond Rendon, left side. Cabrera LaRoche, right side. And Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
Jerry Meals, 18-year veteran, has the plate. He's the crew chief. Paul Immel, 16th year first base. Chris Conroy, Jordan Baker, second and third. Here's Hunter Pence. And Fister ahead of him. Hunter 1 for 3 career against the Nats right-hander. That was Pagan's second career hit against Fister in 5 at-bats. Upstairs with 88, 0-2. Hunter Pence is tied with Denard Span, second in the league with 147 hits. He has scored 85 runs. He and Anthony Rendon have been neck and neck in that run race all year. And the 0-2, a bouncer right side. Cabrera, a tag, a throw. It's a double play, 4-3. Angel Pagan ran right into the lane of Cabrera. And the Nationals turn their 108th double play.
Yeah, not a good base running move by Angel Pagan right here. You either have to run past the ball full speed or pull up, but you can't run into a tag. He just made it very easy for Asdrubal Cabrera to turn the 4-3 double play. You know, put the brakes on. Maybe Cabrera tries to tag you. Pence gets to first, or you know, he runs you back a little bit, throws to first base. Then you get in a rundown. The percentages are higher than just run into a tag. Nats will take it.
Swing and a miss by Buster Posey. So 284 overall, 335 on the road. That's incredible.
He had 4 hits last night and a triple shy of the cycle at Wrigley Field. And that's a tough place to get a triple. And had a couple of days off, or had a day off actually, and then caught 14 innings yesterday. And the Giants melee they had at Wrigley Field, it was ugly. Yeah, they lost the finish of the suspended game, and then Madison Bumgarner came up well for them. That's a busted bat. Anthony Rendon for the 3rd out, and Doug Fister after the leadoff single, no problem. Here come the Nats against a nemesis, Tim Hudson, 17-5 career against the Montreal Washington franchise.
to you by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. And by visitannapolis.org. Find it here. That was number 27 for Denard Span. He wants to make it to 30, would consider that a nice career milestone, and we think he's got a great chance to do it with more than 5 weeks left in the season. There's the lineup. Ian Desmond, career against the Giants, 385. He's also on a roll. Got a day off yesterday. Last 9 games, 8 RBIs, 8 runs, hitting .343. Cabrera down there at number 8, doing a good job. Rendon, Span, all the guys at the top have been setting the table. Here's Tim Hudson. Some recent struggles, FP. We usually don't see him as hittable as he's been his last few times out.
Yeah, he's got a 3-game losing streak working over his last 5 starts.
And Span on the first pitch will pop it up to Pablo Sandoval.
Yeah, last start on August 16th against Philadelphia, got the no decision. 4 innings, gave up 5 runs on 8 hits, struck out 3 Phillies, walked 3. So the fastball, slider, curveball split from Hudson is the repertoire. He'll work on all of them early. He'll go in and out with the fastball, try to get to all his off-speed pitches in the first 20 pitches, get a feel for everything, and then go from there.
Well, Denard trying something differently because he was 2 for 17 career against Hudson going into that AB. Anthony Rendon is 0 for 3 against him, who's won 213 big league games.
Yeah, last 7 starts for Hudson have been not as good as you're used to with the ace. 23 runs given up, 52 hits. 21 strikeouts, 11 walks, and 46 2/3.
Slider just missing. Had his 39th birthday on July 14th. 30 starts against the Expos/Nats. 2.37 ERA. Then a 1-1 pitch. Rendon trying to reach it.
A little slider there at 84, started on the plate, ran it off, kept it down. 16th major league season. Look at the numbers.
26 complete games and 13 of them shutouts.
My teammate 13 years ago in Oakland. That's crazy. Still going.
Yeah, first year was 99 with the Ace. He went 11-2 his rookie year. 20-game winner the year after that.
They changed that to a hit for Anthony Rendon last night. So he actually had a walk-off hit and an error. They originally ruled it an error. They changed it to a hit and an error.
Nice at bat. Takes the fastball up and in. He's aboard with 1 out.
And you talk about why that ball was thrown away yesterday. Well, Pacheco sat on at third base, number 1. Number 2, and I think more importantly, Anthony Rendon always gives you a hard 90. He was getting it down the line. So you're watching the play right here. Pacheco just kind of sits on it a little bit. Then he has to rush because Rendon is hustling. But that's nothing new for Anthony Rendon. He always hustles to first base. Caused a bad throw. They ended up changing that from an error to a hit. And another walk-off for the Nats. And that might be the best ice bucket challenge I've seen. Awesome.
Not much element of surprise, but Denard was ready for it and enjoyed it. But I think when we look at that replay, Rendon was right at the bag when the ball got there. Right. So would he have been out? Who knows? But close enough, and you really don't have a problem with that call being changed.
Yeah, no RBI on the plate.
Right.
Just a hit, then an error, and game over.
Jason Worth, 41 career at-bats against Tim Hudson. 15 hits, that's a .366 batting average with 3 home runs. 4 doubles, 5 walks. You think they've seen enough of each other over the last decade plus. Rendon back in standing, and that ball was down around his feet. Travis Ishikawa taking that throw. Anthony's 12 for 13 this year. Buster Posey, by the way, percentage behind the plate, not getting a lot of help, 22%.
So the Giants, after playing basically 2 games or 1.5 game at Wrigley Field last night, got in at 6 in the morning. Tim Hudson flew ahead of the ball club, so he got a good night's sleep. The rest of the team probably got to bed around 8 this morning. Bruce Bochy's club got here late, didn't take batting practice, just strap it on after a really rough couple of days in Chicago.
And they got some guys banged up, and they've called into their minor league system for us a bunch of guys on their ball club right now. Some good young talent, but untested in their quest to run down those Dodgers. Hudson goes 3-0 on Worth.
Yes.
Bruce Bochy was about to ask us, does he have the green light?
Yes. Loves the 3-0 count.
And he will fly it in the air out to right center for Hunter Pence. 2 outs.
I'll set the defense for the Giants tonight behind Tim Hudson. Yes, some guy named Morrison left. Pagan Pence is the outfield. Crawford Sandoval, Panik Ishikawa, Buster Posey behind the plate. And it's nice to see the Beast back in D.C. There he is, folks. He was a good Nat in 2012. I believe the last time he was in left field, well, maybe not the last time, but my lingering memory of him in left field was pouring champagne on fans when they clinched the division in 2012, right there in left field.
One of the greatest clubhouse chemistry guys you will ever have on a ball club.
Yep. We miss him.
Here's LaRoche against a shift now. Pablo Sandoval is at the shortstop position.
I think it started as champagne, turned into beer, and then it was whatever was left. But you know, he had double barrels in his back pocket. I remember him shaking them up, running from the bullpen all the way down the left field line. Awesome night, great memories, good times.
What a great part of that ball club. 2-0. Hudson falling behind again.
All that said, Carp, and we've referenced 2012 way more than we should. I'm starting to forget about it based on what's going on right now, right here. And that's the first time I can say that. This is better.
It is happening. The Nats have played 126 games. So they have 36 left. They'd only have to play 500 ball to get over 90 wins. Obviously, you want to go beyond that and get that home field for the first couple rounds.
And saw Matt Williams shaking his head. No, he wasn't disagreeing with what you were saying. I think he was saying no green light here for LaRoche.
Yeah, make Hudson throw some strikes. And he does. He's gone to a 3-ball count on 3 consecutive hitters.
Although he could have been disagreeing with what you're saying.
LaRoche 7 for 31 career against Hudson with 4 bases on balls. And Adams going to go the other way and drop it over Sandoval into left field. First and second, 2 outs. And a big spot coming up for giant killer Ian Desmond.
We mentioned it yesterday. Adam LaRoche had a rough day against Wade Miley, but his last at-bat, you could see his swing. He was trying to go to left field. He was in pull mode early when Miley was having his way with him. And his last at-bat, he was looking away, trying to go that way. And he walked, and it was a good at-bat tonight. First at-bat, base hit to left, and there goes a no-hitter on a nice swing by Adam LaRoche.
In that series in San Francisco that finished on Thursday, June 12th, Ian Desmond went 6 for 17 against the Giants with 5 runs batted in. He went 3 for 5 in the first game and had that personal record for this year, 5 runs batted in. That was his largest output in just the entire season until a few nights ago when he knocked in 4. He's a 300 hitter with 15 career hits against Hudson and a home run. Runners moving, and this is a double steal. Ball gets away. Here comes Rendon. The Nationals take the lead. Matt Williams pulling some levers here early.
Well, you got to give Adam LaRoche props on the back end for looking at Anthony Rendon and getting a good jump. Buster Posey came out and put on a sign that if anybody steals, we're going to second base. The throw went to second, but watch LaRoche's jump. He's right with Rendon. If you even hesitate a bit right there, you're thrown out at second base. Rendon went on his own. That wasn't a sign, so LaRoche had to watch Rendon's jump. He had to go with him. He paid attention. Throw gets away. 1-0 Nats.
How about that? They've given the error to Joe Panik, the rookie, for not catching the ball and at least pulling down the tag. Now Desmond pops it up a mile high. Foul ball, Buster Posey. He made a high throw, but it was a catchable throw. And the Nats get a gift. 1-0 early.
The trail runner, Adam LaRoche, right there. Watch him and watch his jump. He's looking at Rendon. He has to watch the guy in front of him. He gets the same jump Rendon gets. He's got a little bigger lead because he's not being held on. If he hesitates a bit, he's probably out at second base if the throw is caught. But that was the key. Rendon got a great jump at second. He did that on his own. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a trail runner hesitate just a little bit and get thrown out. Nat's doing everything right.
At the end of that play, did you see third base umpire Jordan Baker? He pointed at Pablo Sandoval because Rendon made contact with him on the way by, so he was automatically going to be safe on interference. What a play by the Nats, and Anthony Rendon engineering things out to a 1-0 lead early. How interesting these last two runs have been. The walk-off yesterday, the first one tonight.
Now they're putting pressure on the defense. You know, it could look like teams aren't playing well against him.
Sandoval lines hard to right. Worth right there. And there's a familiar guy coming in to hit now for the Giants.
Left fielder, number 38, Michael Morse.
Michael was with Seattle most of last year, didn't see him. With Baltimore for a little while, didn't see him. So this is really 2 years later, the return back to Nationals Park.
That was impressive. Kind of a mini standing O for the Beast.
Remember, he didn't play in 2012 until June 1st. Started the season on the DL with that lat strain. Went on to hit .291 with 18 home runs, 62 RBIs. Off to the right side by Michael.
See some numbers on Michael Morse. When he was a Nats, he was a good one. .294 average, 67 taters. Slugging percentage bueno.
And by the way, he's sitting on 99 career home runs.
Clubhouse presence, priceless.
Actually, that total including his 16 from this year. So I sit corrected, and he'll be flirting with that probably sometime first couple of months next year. Took Adam Wainwright deep in Game 5 of the division series.
A little hand in the air as he carried his bat to first base. Bryce Harper looking on. Point to the family section. You remember they did the high fives, high tens, low tens, everything. He was in charge of all of the funny business.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He's 2 for 9 career against Pfister, and Doug misses away.
2 best Morse memories as a Nat was the Phantom Grand Slam in St. Louis and the Smurf Rookie Act when he had the music.
How to play right side.
The big boom box going through the train station in New York with the theme song to the Smurfs as all the rookies were dressed just like Smurfs, spray painted blue. Steven Strasburg was Papa Smurf, and Michael Morse choreographed the whole thing. It was the best rookie hazing I've ever seen at the major league level. There's Papa Smurf.
It was really embarrassing going through Penn Station in New York with those guys. There's a busted bat. Cabrera to his left, scoops and fires. And Cabrera has done it again. The man has been flawless defensively with the Nationals.
What a play. Unbelievable how good he's been at second base. I mean, he was a human highlight reel at shortstop with the Indians, but he's becoming one with the Nationals at second base. That was a blind throw. He hadn't even finished jumping and turning around yet. Watch where he throws it. He can't even see where he's throwing it.
Wow. Just
by knowing where LaRoche might be and the momentum that's going toward first base, he throws it right on the money. Look when he lets go. He's looking at Ian Desmond as short. That was just ballet at its best.
I think the scouts call that instinct. Amazing.
Well, we say he's a baseball player, professional in every way. That's a perfect example.
Wow. Here's a rookie, Joe Panik. 23 years of age. He was the Giants' first rounder 4 years ago out of St. John's.
Maybe the best name ever.
Well, and a couple of the Giants guys told me when he first came up, he was a little shaky at second base. Dropped a throw tonight. They said that was kind of what he did when he first got up. He's been more comfortable now the last week or two. And they kind of think he's a young Marco Scutaro kind of player. Not a lot of power, scrappy, puts the bat on the ball, line drive hitter. They just had to rush some of these guys to the big leagues a little quicker than they thought they would.
Well, you got Joe Panik in the box, and you got No Panic playing first base. There's No Panic.
By the way, did you notice Doug Pfister backing up the throw on that play by Cabrera?
No, because he does it every time. It just it's like, okay.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That's going to get through him and find its way up the middle. Giants have their second base hit. Joe Panik now 39 for 129, so he's flirting with 300 as a Giant in his 40th big league game. Well, these two teams are hard to figure. They're both good comeback teams, but they all usually win when they score first. Tonight, advantage Washington. It's brought to you by STG. Bruce Bochy's ball club, 8 games over 500. And that's all on the road for the Giants. They're 32 and 32 at home. They haven't been able to use their big ballpark to much of an advantage this year. Over to the left side off the bat of Travis Ishikawa. Back with the Giants after an absence of a year or two. He went to Milwaukee in 2012. Hit .257 there. Last year, only 17 at bats for the Orioles, only 2 for the Yankees. Started this year with the Pirates, and now back with the Giants. Up and in, Doug Pfister moves him away, ball 2. Good run on that fastball at 88.
Oh, run back to it. Nice.
Speaking of the Orioles, they have the same record as the Nats do now. They were beaten at Wrigley Field today. The Beltway clubs, a combined 40 over 500. Ishikawa 5 for his last 7. Been spraying foul balls all over the place. The Giants are 9th in the league, hitting .247, 8th in runs. Pitching staff, as usual, solid, but not as dominant as in recent years. Mercedes-Benz will track the at-bat here. Swing and a miss. And Doug Fister, first inning with a double play, this inning with a strikeout, pitching around the base hit. Cabrera, brilliant defensively. Watch him do his thing, and FP, great point. How did he know where first base was?
Because it's been there for 130 years.
All I can think of.
Friday night crowd piles in to Nats Park. A lot of Giants fans in town today. They travel well, but Bryce Harper has been hitting well, and it's been all back up the middle. I think his last 5 hits have been right back up the box. We saw him yesterday with his lead hand kind of without the bat in it, motioning to go back up the middle. Look out, Wade Miley. But you look at that, just right back to where it came from. So Harper's starting to heat up.
7 for his last 15. On base 10 games in a row and 20 of his last 24. Hudson got the high call. Bryce against Tim Hudson. 3 for 14, 2 walks. Tim Hudson, by the way, salvaged that series in June in San Francisco. Nats had won the first 3. And he came out and spun 7 good innings. 1 run unearned on 6 hits. The Giants beat the Nats that day 7-1. But the Nationals have been great against San Francisco over the last 2.5 years. 11-5 against the Giants since the start of 2012. All time 31-30 as the Nationals. And the 2 ball clubs have split 20 games since 08 in this ballpark. So Bryce trying to get that batting average up around 270. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nats started the night 4th in the league in runs. 5th in home runs, 6th in batting average. And those numbers even more sparkling when you've given up the fewest runs and home runs in the league. Change up. Harper spotted it. 2-2. Braves, by the way, underway at Cincinnati. Mike Minor 5-8. Matt Latos 4-3, matching up there.
Yeah, Homie didn't pick us up yesterday, by the way. Cincinnati starter. I think he gave up a bunch in the first inning. I think he got out of the first inning.
Two pitch. Harper up the middle again. If he was a golfer, he'd lead the team in fairways right now. Nationals second hit, third runner.
How about that? We just show you the highlight package. Bryce Harper in his last 5 hits right back up the middle. We'll make it 6. Stays on the split from Tim Hudson, right back where it came from. Good balance, staying through the baseball. Everything's staying closed in the last second. Now the temptation for Bryce Harper is going to be, well, I got that swing down. Do I go ahead and let it rip and try to pull something? I say just keep collecting hits, Bryce. That's nice.
You know, if he stays with it, the pitchers might solve that problem for him by trying to get in, making a few mistakes. Here's Ramos. He goes up hacking. He's had his share of hits against Hudson, 4 with a double. 16 at bats. There's a lot of guys in baseball that would love to be hitting .250 career against Tim Hudson. 319 is Ramos in 37 games since coming back from the hand injury. Actually, second time around, the hamstring. And that's inside, 1-1.
I was just thinking that play in the first inning by the Giants might be a we got in at 6 in the morning play.
With Pagan running into the tag?
No, well, maybe that too, but panic dropping the ball and Rendon scoring.
Okay. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ramos coming off a 4 for 12 series against the Diamondbacks with a home run, 3 RBIs.
Bryce is going. Ooh. He was leaning. Bryce will let you know when he's going. You can tell he gets out there, he gets a little bit lower, he starts to lean. I think Tim Hudson might have seen that out of the corner of his eye and threw over. Great English.
Ramos, another Nat working the count here against Hudson. He threw in the first inning only 7 strikes among his 19 pitches. Right now he's at 31 and 15 have been strikes.
His last start in Philly, watched the video today, he just wasn't crisp. You know, he gave up 5 runs on 8 hits in just 4 innings, and everything was kind of rolling in there. When Tim Hudson's at his best, even throw velocity out the window, everything's sharp. The sinker's sharp, the split sharp, and the curveball at times is sharp. And that could be just his age, and he's wearing down the second half. Could be as simple as that. When we saw him in San Francisco, Carp, I watched him run the bases in batting practice, and he was limping all over the place. You remember the injury last year in Atlanta when he was playing at Citi Field, and Eric Young Jr. stepped on his ankle at first base, kind of actually jumped on his ankle at first. That's something you'll feel the rest of your life.
Another 2-2 count. Ramos has already fouled off one in this count. Another check of Harper. Outfield absolutely straight away for the big power hitting catcher. 2-2, and Ramos got the breaking ball to stay alive. Power starting to come for Wilson. 5 of his 6 home runs this year since he's been healthy. And that thing, even on foul balls, quite a sound coming off his bat.
But he's so quick with the bat, he almost takes it out of Buster Posey's glove right there.
Giants standing around a long time on defense here after the Harper leadoff hit. And Ramos will keep this thing going. Crowd starting to pick up on the at bat now. As we mentioned, Tim Hudson, some long counts in the first inning.
Buffalo grazing in the box.
Nissan with the entire at bat tracked here. And then a swing and a miss on 88. Hudson's first strikeout. On that pitch, Harper started, then stopped. That's the first out, and Cabrera, number 8 hitter, next. New for next year, the Nats launching an exciting membership program called Nats Plus for our season plan holders, full and half season. You get great experiences, autograph opportunities, rewards, and access. Purchase now, you'll get priority for 2014 postseason tickets. 202-675-NATS. Nationals.com/Nats Plus.
Family at the yard Friday night. Where else would you rather be?
And Cabrera got Buster Posey with that one on a pitch away. Jerry Meals will give the Giants catcher a little while to get things back together here. Cabrera now a .250 hitter with the Nats, 16 for 64 in 17 games. His on base percentage, whether he's hitting second or eighth, .377 over the last 2 weeks. Close, and they've got Bryce Harper at first base. He dropped his shoulder, took a big time step towards second, and never got back. Base running problems continue.
He just gets too far out there. Watch the fake break, but it's okay to fake break, but you can't hang out. If you get this far off, you got to stick your right foot in the ground and get back. Bryce hesitated for a second. Buster Posey with a strong throw down there gets Bryce Harper easily.
Now Cabrera with a 1-1 count. Tried to bunt to keep the inning alive with Sandoval way off the line at third. And if Cabrera can't reach, the Nats have lost a chance to at least turn over the lineup here in the second.
I mean, word is obviously out throughout the National League that Bryce Harper is not running the bases well, and teams are taking advantage.
Cabrera hit himself with that one. Tim Hudson's stuff moving all over the place. Catcher hit earlier, and now Cabrera.
Let's see where it got him. Yeah, just a cutter chasing him on the inner half. Ooh, he fouled off his back knee. don't see that very often. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen that.
Base is empty, 2 outs. And Cabrera strikes out. The inning unravels in a hurry. Hudson, 2 Ks. Posey, a pickoff. And we're going to the top of the 3rd inning. Souvenir time at the ballpark. The Nats early lead. He loves it. 1-0.
Magic in that ball.
Their 11th straight win today. I went around the clubhouse earlier this afternoon and asked a handful of players whether they've ever been a part of a 10-game winning streak before at any level of their baseball playing days, whether they've ever seen anything as dramatic as we've gotten the last week and a half. I got a variety of responses. A few players said they'd never won 10 in a row before at any level, high school, college, or minor leagues included. Asdrubal Cabrera actually won 10 in a row just last year when his Indians finished the season on a 10-game winning streak, which featured 2 straight walk-offs. Cabrera said while this stretch with the Nats has been crazy, it doesn't quite match last year in Cleveland because the Indians were outside the playoff picture when the winning streak started, and they actually ended up snagging a wild card spot. But nothing matches Drew Storen's story. Back in 2005, Storen's high school team went a whopping 35-0. Storen and current Cardinals starter Lance Lynn were on that squad, which rolled to a state championship. So the Nats need just 25 more wins in a row to match that streak, guys. They should have no problem doing that.
High school Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Storen and Lance Lynn going 2 out of every 3 games, or 2 out of every 4. And at P, the Expos and a ball club you were on, part of this sort of thing as well.
In 1997, we won 10 games in a row. So I think this club, 2005, and the 1997 Expos were the 3 teams tied for the longest win streak in franchise history.
Doug Fister.
There I am. Yeah, I had a pretty good 10 games, and that was it. After that, it was all downhill.
Went deep twice in a game, huh?
Yeah, both sides of the plate.
Is that when you knew it had to be some kind of streak? This year, longest win streaks. So 10 games in 05 during that magical summer run before things cooled off in the second half. But look at the ERA.
Yeah, that 10-game streak in 97, nowhere near as exciting as this one. I've never seen anything like what's going on around here. Never. You could talk about a 10-game win streak. It's how they've done it. There's 7 out of the 10 one-run games, 5 comeback victories, all the walk-offs, as you see the Doug Fister fastball for strike 3. Inventing ways to win games like yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think a total of maybe 10,000 fans saw the Expos 10-game win streak in 1997.
pretty much the same folks every night in some cases, right? They had loyal fans, just not enough. 1-1 to Tim Hudson. A 161 career hitter with 3 home runs. Rendon is going to get to that ball before it goes foul. Pulls LaRoche off the bag. And as FP mentioned after the injury last year, Tim Hudson just can't run like he used to.
Well, I want the stat. I don't know where it is. Maybe we could call some sort of bureau and find out how many errors Adam LaRoche has saved as infielders this year. There has to be a stat with everything in baseball now. Errors saved by a first baseman. I will bet a lot of money that Adam LaRoche leads all of baseball in that category. ESBFB maybe? Errors saved by first base, man?
I think just ES would be good. Errors saved. Here's Angel Pagan. He goes up the middle again. Over toward the gap. Denard Span gets there. Racing to the spot, reaching out to the turf he goes, and the brilliant defense continues by the Nats' Gold Glove contender. That's a 9-pinch hitting.
Yeah. Some Span fans right there. He actually had to make an adjustment on it and give with it at the last second. You never see him leave his feet. Denard Span with the dive, a roll. Doug Fister appreciating it, and everybody over the first base dugout as well. Make an adjustment in mid-stride. Usually his routes are right to the baseball, but watch him have to give with this line drive as it carries a little further than you expect. See that step right there where he has to kind of give and go into the gap? And a guy that never leaves his feet fully extended. Little stop, drop, and roll after the great catch by Denard Span. And if he doesn't win a Gold Glove, there's no such thing.
Yeah. He can get robbed once, but not twice the way he's going. He'll bat after Fister here. Doug, 2 hits this year, 6 in his career. A couple of long innings for Tim Hudson. 40 pitches, 23 strikes in the first 2. He evens things up against his opponent tonight. Fister, by the way, 3 innings, 41 pitches, 30 strikes. And Fister's going to go up the middle for a base hit. His 3rd of the year in 35 at-bats. The Nats have their leadoff man on for the 2nd time.
You are looking at Doug Fister, baseball player. And it just takes a sinker from Tim Hudson, slaps it into center field. And the former first baseman from Fresno State leads the 3rd off with a knock. Yeah, people have been asking me what's going on with Doug Fister's neck, and I don't know. I guess he's got kind of a scar on his left side. I have no idea what it is.
There's Denard Span. Lays down a bunt. It's foul. And a good thing. Giants would have been hard-pressed to get a running span at first base.
Did you see Doug Fister going to second base? My goodness, watch this. Hopefully show you this again. Just got done saying Doug Fister, baseball player. He's not going to umpire. He's not going to wait around for the call. Watch this. Watch the effort by the Nationals pitcher going to second base. He's breaking up too. That's the way you play the game.
If I was Brandon Crawford, I'd be backing up too.
No jogging, peeling off halfway.
This team's fun to watch right now. It's such a coincidence, too. I can't figure it out. Every night Doug Fister pitches, the defense really makes some nice plays. Can you explain that to me?
They think he's really nice.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And they want to do nice things for him. If he cut himself shaving, that's a big cut.
That's a hack. Span popped up on the first pitch he saw. It's 1-1 to Denard here. And Hudson off speed, not even close. 2 balls, 1 strike. Braves, by the way, scoreless in the 3rd at Cincinnati. They've loaded the bases with 1 out against Matt Latos. Nats are 7 up on Atlanta, 10 on Miami. Marlins at Colorado later tonight. Sandoval very shallow at 3rd still. And he'll back up now with 2 strikes, but not too far.
All right, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one this Friday night, to look forward to Miller time later in the game. That's brought to you by Miller Lite. He's got a few Miller moments this year.
Well, the hit by the pitcher to lead off has Hudson under pressure again. 2-2 to Span, target inside. Buster Posey jumped in there, and that's right where the pitch was.
That's a good foul ball by Denard. That was a borderline pitch that he couldn't really wait around for to see if it was going to be that run back sinker. So commit to it, foul it off, and hope that the next one's out over the plate.
Span just outside the bag.
And it was. Right out over the plate, almost got a double.
Inside the numbers with STG. So Span, 47 multi-hit games, nobody that many. Tied with Hunter Pence in hits. Top 4 doubles and steals. And top 8 in runs. And the guy behind him scored his 89th run of the year tonight, Anthony Rendon. Ten more pitches in this inning by Hudson as we hit 8 o'clock without retiring a batter.
Start Doug Fister right here. You got a contact guy up. Not a double play candidate, but you have a feeling that Denard's going to put it in play. They're not holding Fister on.
And then Denard finds a gap somewhere. That could really be interesting if he's on the move. They're not playing him very deep. Hunter Pence, the deepest in right of the 3 outfielders. 3-2 and the runner holding. Span to short. Crawford, panic, and close, out at first. 6-4-3. Giants, one of the league leaders in double plays with their 127th of the year.
Well, I saw Randy Knorr go for the phone. I saw Matt Williams change positions. He's on about the 3rd step in the dugout, so we'll see if Denard beat this or not. Pretty close at first base. Might be worth a challenge, especially with the speed of Span, but I see Matt Williams going back to his familiar position. Randy Knorr joining him by his side, and that's that.
I tell you, that's a huge pitch saver for Tim Hudson. Giants lead the National League now with 127 double plays. And Rendon trying to restart things now with 2 outs. He battled, drew that walk first time up. Went to second on the LaRoche 2-out single. They engineered a double steal with Anthony leading the way, and he went home. When Posey's throw to the second baseman, the rookie Panic, was dropped. That's the difference in the ball game right now. Hudson back to the windup. Great slider. In all the years the Nats have faced him, mostly with Atlanta, and now a couple of times with the Giants, you always just associate him with great stuff low in the zone. That's a good take. Same pitch. Hudson's given up 11 home runs this year. His lack run support. Total of 5 runs the Giants have scored in his last 5 starts coming into this one. 1-2 pitch. And Rendon just spits on that 90 outside.
I associate Tim Hudson with being a tremendous competitor.
Yeah.
Fearless.
Rendon figuring out that strike zone after he went after that slider, hasn't he? 3-2.
He's never had a losing season as a professional pitcher, and this is his 17th year.
That's hard to do. That is really hard. Rendon, hot shot, Crawford. One of the better defensive guys at that position in the league. After 3, the Nats have a 1-0 with Pfister and Hudson dueling.
Actions 1-0 as we have the top of the 4th. Check out the Nats record when they score first. Pretty bueno. Right now they're throwing some serious leather around. First with Asdrubal Cabrera, little 4-3 double play unassisted. Then how about some ballet? Little Barishnikov going into right field with a throw. That might have been his best play, and he's made a lot. And how about Denard Span? Hashtag Spanning. If it's in the park, he'll catch it. You know the phrase. That's Gold Glove. I'm sorry. I'm going to start beating that drum big time.
4th inning, Hunter Pence in the air, left center. Bryce Harper under it. And one of the most prolific hit gatherers in the league, 0 for 2. Contemporary Christian musician Lincoln Brewster and his hit Love the Lord will be here in the ballpark on Saturday, September 6th. Nats Phillies. It's a 4:05 game. It'll feature testimonies from Nats players, including Adam LaRoche, Ian Desmond, Denard Span, and others. Special group pricing available. Check it out, nationals.com/faith or 202-675-NATS.
still think he should sing.
Buster Posey pulled it first time, bounced out to Rendon. And Doug Fister, 5 in a row since the Joe Panic single, with 2 outs in the second. Averaging 13 pitches per inning in the early going. He pitched well enough in the World Series in 2012 to beat the Giants. 2-0 loss. 1 run, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, a walk in 7 innings. And a 1-hop little liner up the middle for Desmond. Ian back in the lineup tonight, and that's 1 with him getting a day off.
Tweet your photo. We'll show it on the tube. Brought to you by AT&T. We've got to hashtag it, Masson Fan Photos. And we will show it in the future broadcasts. I see red people everywhere tonight. A few orange people scattered in there.
Pablo Sandoval hit the ball pretty hard first time up. Lined out to Jason Worth.
Tell you what, the Panda doesn't get enough credit for how he's played third base this year for the Giants. He's been as good as anybody over there in Gold Glove quality defense. Got a big time errorless streak. I think it's a 72 game errorless streak, but on top of that, he's been taking a lot of hits away too.
2-0 pitch. And Doug Fister not about to groove one when behind the count. And we have some Panda fans tonight.
I feel like Buffalo hats are in the near future. What do you think? Could see him, right? Yeah, horns up.
Look at that one come down. Sandoval gave up on it. It was only 79 miles an hour, and gravity took over on the Mercedes pitch track.
No change up for Fister. You remember the change up last time was the big pitch in that bases loaded sequence to Ike Davis. It was a 3-1 count, bases loaded. He threw a high changeup to Ike Davis, got the call, came back and got him to fly out in a 3-2 pitch. That was the turning point of that game. He got out of that bases loaded, nobody out jam with just 2 runs. And the Nats went on to win 6-5 and 11.
2-2. I mean, he's changing speeds, eye levels, everything you can do to a hitter right here, to Pablo Sandoval, who's really tough. Came into this game 5 for his last 8.
But even though Fister got the no decision last time out, it might have been the best no decision of the year, considering what could have happened in that inning.
Well, as we remarked, a couple of things. Fielding went wrong. A lot of pitchers. That's a 4 to 5 run inning. Sandoval, too tall for Fister. Cabrera tried it with the bare hand. Felt like it was his only chance. And it should be a base hit for Pablo Sandoval, the Giants' 3rd of the night. That'll get Michael Morse to the plate.
Now, Cabrera thought it was do or die with Pablo Sandoval running, who does run better than you'd think. And he just got the in-between hop on the bare hand. Watch it hit one more time, and that was the difference. Got in the dirt, maybe picked up a little speed, couldn't handle it. The infield single for Sandoval.
The Beast and the Buffalo in the same box right now. Michael hit that ball right side. Cabrera into right field with that tremendous turning throw, threw him out. And Morse saw 88 upstairs. He thought he could hit out of the park.
And the Panda at first, it's a zoo right now. Seriously, it's a zoo. There's Panda. Buffalo behind the dish.
Werewolf in right.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
But he escaped from the zoo.
The curator let him out.
He just bent the bars.
2-1 pitch, and that's fouled back to the screen. Well, Doug Fister continuing some tremendous Nats pitching. Gio, 4 hits, no runs, 7 innings yesterday. Tanner Roark on Wednesday, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs. 1 run against Strasburg and 8 great innings on Tuesday. Guys have been dealing.
That's where Michael Morse loves it right there. I think Doug Fister might have gotten away with one. He likes to get extended. He likes the belt tie fastball up and away. His power, as all Nats fans know already, is to right center field.
Yeah, they knew if they sat by the scoreboard some nights, they had a good chance of getting a souvenir. When he was here, he hit the ball farther to the opposite field than anybody else who's played here. Home or visitor. Off speed, Desmond can't get to it. Denard Span races in and to the gap to grab it. And Michael Morse has a base hit. That'll bring in the rookie second baseman Joe Panik, who singled up the middle first time. Longest inning, 19 pitches. Sandoval fouled off a bunch before his hit. And here's Panik hitting .302 now. As a major leaguer, touches one off to center. Denard Span going back, and that ball is out of here. Joe Panik, first major league home run, and he hit it a ton to center.
He gets a hug from his hitting coach. Dislocated his pinky on his left hand the other day, but it looks fine right there. Gave it a long ride to right center field, and as soon as you see Denard Span pull up, you know it's out of there. 3-run jack for the Giants. Makes it a 3-1 game. Didn't see that coming.
No, sir. All started with an infield hit because Sandoval had fouled off those pitches and stayed alive. Here's Ishikawa. Fister working quickly. That's a 12th homer Doug's given up this year. He seldom gives up home runs with anybody on base. Inning over. Bit of a shocker for the Giants in the top of the 4th. It all started with 2 outs. A rookie goes deep for the first time at Nationals Park. Everybody racing right now except for George. I believe he won the race yesterday. On a bit of a hot streak. Looks like he's going to hand out a Coke and a smile to each president. Well, maybe he didn't chop down the cherry tree, but he just chopped down 4 executives.
Did you see the Hunter Pence sign? That was all the rage when the Giants were in New York. Mets fans were making all kinds of Hunter Pence signs.
Honda with our do-ups career against Hudson. Bottom of the 4th rolls around. The Nationals down by 2.
Let's say Hunter Pence's shoes are labeled left and other left. Clever.
Target away. 1-1 to Worthu on a 3-0 pitch. Flew out to Hunter Pence first time up. Launches one to left. See you later. A rocket launch. 13th of the year. The Nats are back to within 1 in a hurry.
Let him out of the zone. He goes deep. And Desmond with a nice jump shot right there. Jason Worth with a line drive home run to make this a 1-run game. That ball was touched.
Remember that double he hit the other day? We said if it only had some altitude. Well, those two were hit about the same, and that one got some air under it. And for Jason Worth, his 183rd career home run. There's LaRoche. He had a base hit first time. And he was trying to tie the game with that swing.
Well, just catches it out front, goes down and gets it. And that's just the trademark Jason Worth home run swing right there. That reminded me a lot of Game 4.
1-1 pitch. Hudson goes with the breaking ball and misses. Nationals 108th homer of the year. So Worth has 13. LaRoche, his next will be 20. Desmond's already at 20. He's on deck. Talk about putting a dent in some Giants momentum. And that one is right at Brandon Crawford on the shift, playing on that side of the infield.
You know, when you're on a streak like this, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, there's that ultimate confidence that you just never panic when you're down by a couple of runs. No matter if it's early, if it's late, you have the feeling, and it's such a special feeling that you know you're going to come back or find a way to come back. The one thing you have to guard against, however, when you're in the middle of one of those streaks is to get a little bit too complacent, thinking, okay, we just flipped the switch and we're going to do it again today. I don't think the Nats are there, but it's something you do have to guard against when you're going real well.
There's Ian Desmond. He looks at ball 1.
Like I said, though, if you could bottle that feeling and sell it, you'd be a billionaire. It doesn't come around very often, and when it does, you just got to cherish every moment. You know it's going to happen, and you know it's just a matter of time.
Big swing, and that thing breaking away from him. And a fastball running inside, 89, foul tipped. 1-2.
I would say the older version of Tim Hudson loves to face guys that are aggressive. If he can execute his game plan, that's what he wants. But, you know, you also run the risk of making a mistake.
Right at Crawford. 2 down with Harper coming up.
All right, fans, you get a ticket and a drink deal starting just $22 for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday games at Nats Park. You can also enjoy the Miller Lite Party Night Happy Hour featuring, why am I reading this one? Live music and $6 drink specials at the On Deck Bar before the game starts. Some restrictions apply. Get your tickets online at nats.com/party. He just partied.
Yeah, the whole neighborhood heard that one. Ball comes up on Crawford, and Bryce Harper's on. They could give him a hit on a bad hop. I mean, that's a good shortstop down there. We'll see how they rule it.
I think that's got to be an error. It's right at him. And I'm Mr. Give everybody a hit, too. Let's see if it took a bad hop. That's, you know, a play that a major league shortstop has to make every time. Did take a tricky hop. He still had a chance after he bobbled it. So hits him in the heel.
Giants' second error of the night. Crawford's 18th of the year. That gets Wilson Ramos to the plate here. It gets Hudson to 70 pitches in the 4th inning. And that's outside.
Ian Desmond has 19 errors. Brandon Crawford has 18. That's a lot of errors.
Bryce picked off once tonight by the catcher. That was for the second out in the second. He singled leading off. Ramos struck out with Cabrera up there. Bryce picked off. And Ramos lifts one to right. Hunter Pence. This ball's coming straight down, got out there and kind of died. But on the Jason Worth leadoff shot, the Nats cut the deficit in half. Breaking ball, it did not take long to leave the yard. And tonight it's brought to you by Navy Federal. It's our Navy Federal Credit Union Troop Recognition, brought to you by Navy Federal. Once a member, always a member. Brandon Crawford, Doug Fister, top of the 5th. And Crawford gets a piece of that one out to right center. Denard Span at the edge of the track for the first down. For the Achiever in you, PNC with our minor league report. This is interesting. Former Giant Nate Schierholtz let go by the Cubs earlier this year, signed by the Nats this week. He's 3 for 10 at Syracuse, and he's already hit a home run, driven in 4. The guy can hit.
He can. You'd think he'd be here shortly, but Matt Williams was talking about today in his press conference, you know, he needs at-bats. He was off for a while, so he's going to be in Syracuse for a minute, getting his swing right, but it looks like so far so good for Schierholtz.
Well, the Nationals don't have a strictly left-handed bat off the bench on a night when all the regulars are in there. They do have Danny Espinosa, switch hitter, but the only other candidate, Jose Lobaton, the switch hitting catcher, and you're not going to use him as a rule. So they could use a little pop off that left side. Tim Hudson bounced out to Rendon, first time up. This pitch way outside, 2-2. Doug Fister had a long 4th inning, 23 pitches. Again down to Rendon. Top of the order, Angel Pagani's hit the ball well twice.
There's something about a pitcher pitching with a dirty uniform that I dig a lot. I just think that's awesome. I mean, I like dirty uniforms in general, but when a pitcher has one.
That's from that nice slide he took into second base on the foul ball.
A little blood in there, too.
Way inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. 3-2 Giants, 3-5-2 San Fran, 2-4-0 Nationals. Off speed, had Pagan out ahead. Cabrera again. Look how quick he pops up and throws. The quick inning Doug Fister was hoping for, and his second baseman helped cap it off. 10 pitches that frame.
He's just been so impressive, you know, with the bat, especially with the glove. That's routine for Asdrubal.
3-2 ball game, shaping up as a good battle between the Giants and the Nats tonight. Cabrera, Pfister, Span, 5th inning.
I'm going to Shazam that song right there. The highlight song was really, really okay.
There's Cabrera, struck out swinging first time. It was right after he hit himself on the back knee with a foul ball, on the heels of Harper being picked off back in the 2nd. Braves have a run. They lead 5th inning at Cincinnati. It's 1-0 there. They've won 6 out of 7. And Cabrera, good rip on a pitch up in the zone a bit. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
They'll make a great play, lead off the inning.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Although on the Asdrubal meter, that wasn't, you know, that was routine, like I said, going to break.
Then a 1-2 pitch. In the air to right. It's over on the foul side now, and Ishikawa under it.
All right, so you remember the interview with Matt May in Houston when he made the promise?
The promise.
This promise. If the Nats win 10 in a row, can we get the Babe Ruth impersonation?
Yeah, if we do 10 in a row, I will break it out. It's been a long time, but yeah, I would. 10 in a row, you got it.
So it's the famous Babe Ruth calling his shot that Matt Williams did as a Giant, as a player.
And that was Candlestick Park, by the way.
That was, he had it down to a T. And he said he would do it. He's going to honor it, but the timing isn't right now, and I totally understand what he's saying. You know, it's not about him, it's about his ball club. He wants them to get all the credit, and he's not a look-at-me manager, so that makes perfect sense. He said he would do it. He said he's going to hold up his end of the deal, and we'll pick a time when it's right, and you'll see it. It's just not going to be anytime soon, and I totally respect that 100%.
And Doug Pfister, after getting that base hit last time, he sees the entire assortment of pitches from Tim Hudson. Just struck out his 3rd man of the night. 2 outs, and Denard Span coming up. Volkswagen will take us back to a moment in history. Willie Harris on this date in 2008. The Nationals were at Wrigley Field. They would go on to win 13-5. Willie was batting 7th. He was 0 for 2, hit a grand slam in the 6th, a 2-run homer in the 9th. His first career multi-homer game. Yeah, the Nats were down to the Cubbies and beat them 13-5 behind John Lennon that night.
Seems to be a theme tonight on only career 2-homer games.
And by the way, John Lennon, one of the pitchers, the Jason Worth, has hit 4 career homers against, Scott Olson the other, and now Tim Hudson has joined that list. No accident the 2 of those guys were Nats, because that man wore out the Nationals when he was a Philly. Denard Span hit it hard. Panic. Picked it. We're going to the 6th. 2-3-4 for the Giants in a 3-2 game.
inning. And you check out the future stars of the Washington Nationals. Go down to Potomac and check out some minor league baseball. Good action down there all the time. They had some kids come up and watch batting practice the other day, and they will all be here soon, hopefully.
Well, that's the last single-A stop before Double-A Harrisburg. Randy Knorr won a championship down there a few years ago, got a promotion to the big league staff. Great baseball man. I don't think his managerial days are over by any means. That's a great breaking ball by Doug Fister to Hunter Pence. Got ahead, dropped the hook on him. No balls, 2 strikes. Hunter Pence, a .285 career hitter, and he's pretty much right where he always is, .282 at the moment.
One thing we don't talk a lot about with Doug Fister when he starts is he calls his own game out there. He reads swings. He knows what he wants to do. Like I've mentioned a few times, he really doesn't pay attention to game plans because he wants to pitch to his strength. But you'll see him shake 2 or 3 times like he just did. So Wilson Ramos really just offering suggestions to Fister, and Fister knowing what he wants to throw. And I like that. I think a lot of times, especially young pitchers, they're afraid to shake off a big league catcher, and they just go with what he puts down. Look at that. That's the 3rd sign, 4th sign he's going with right here.
And a 1-2 again.
And Wilson going through him real quick, too, because he knows Fister likes to work quick, doesn't want to slow down his tempo with the signs.
Out to short. Ian Desmond to LaRoche for the first out. I talked to Gio today, and it's interesting. Gio told me that last night he doesn't remember shaking Wilson Ramos off more than once or twice. He gave so much credit to the big guy behind the plate for presenting a nice strike zone to him last night. Gio did say he threw the curveball more, and he says, you can tell when things are going bad with me. If I'm dropping that arm down too low, my curveball's bouncing every time. He had nothing but great things to say about the Buffalo and his performance yesterday. And how about Gio? 4 hits, no runs in 7 innings. Got a no decision as the Nats walked off 1-0. His best start in 2 months. 1-1, Buster Posey.
But, I mean, kind of add to what you said, it's not an insult for a pitcher to shake a catcher off. Some guys just like to think and pitch at the same time. Veteran guy like Doug Fister knows what he wants to do. So it's not like he's looking at Wilson saying, no, are you kidding me with that? He just knows what he wants. Other guys like Gio don't like to sit out there and go, I want to throw this. No, what are you doing? It's just some guys like the catcher to call the game. Other guys as pitchers like to do it themselves. It's personal preference. And I think mostly based on experience. You'll see guys that have been around a little bit longer call their own games. Sometimes you're on the same page, sometimes you're not. And catchers really don't take offense to that at all.
Well, we talked. If Gio gets this thing going, this rotation, really something. Buster Posey has pulled it twice. Rendon in the 1st, Desmond in the 4th. Highest batting average of any hitter in the league on the road this year. .335 coming in. Two. Off speed, and Buster really had to slow down the bat to get a piece of that. So the Giants box score, singles in the 1st and the 2nd. And then Pablo Sandoval quite an at bat to keep the 3rd alive with 2 outs. Infield hit. Michael Morse up the middle just beyond the reach of Desmond. And then rookie Joe Panik bombed one to center, his first big league home run. And now Buster Posey is going to join the home run parade. Giants lead 4-2 as he hooks one out of here, his 15th.
Ball jumping here tonight on a warm, humid evening. That was halfway up the bleachers and left.
Doug Fister gives up more than one home run for only the second time since his first start of the year.
Yeah, it was center cut fastball right down the middle. We talked about Buster Posey's night last night. Triple shy of the cycle, and he got all that one.
Giants have their 2-run lead back. Here's Sandoval. He hit it hard in the second, made it out. Didn't hit it hard in the fourth. Got a hit. Ball 1. Fister gave up 3 home runs his first start of the year at Oakland, when he was coming off 5 weeks of not being in the big leagues. And the only other time this year he'd given up 2 was against Atlanta. Actually at St. Louis before he shut down the Braves in a 5-2 loss June 15th. So Giants doing something to Doug tonight that really nobody else has done as a rule. 2-2 pitch.
Sweat building up on his hand. You see him keep wiping his wrist off on his right pant leg.
Upstairs. So the even numbered innings have been long ones on Doug's pitch count tonight. That'll be his first walk.
Well, that's a tough guy to walk, and Doug Fister doesn't walk anybody. I think Steve McCatty's going to come out and talk to his right-hander based on, well, maybe just go on the top step, or maybe just waiting. Yeah, here he comes.
First time in 11 starts, Doug Fister's given up more than 3 runs.
Yeah, that said, though, if he keeps it right here, he's 1 pitch away. He gets Morse on the ground. 4-2 ball game. Ball flying out of Nats Park tonight. This one a long way from being over.
And the Nats do have Tim Hudson at 81 pitches in 5 innings.
I mean, you feel like with 1 out left, they're a long way from being over right now.
Yeah. Well, Jerry Blevins has been good lately. He got his season turned around. Then Matt Thornton showed up on waivers from the Yankees, and the left side of the Nationals bullpen got real better in a hurry.
Yeah, boy, did he ever show up.
Here's Michael Morse. Wasn't for Cabrera, he'd be 2 for 2. Got him on his hands that time. Here comes Jason Worth. Great pitch to get inside on Michael Morse. 2 outs.
All right, you know you want a t-shirt. Who doesn't? Visit any Cox Solution stores throughout Virginia for your free shirt. This is open to all fans. You do not need to be a Cox customer, but they sure would like you to be. Visit Cox.com for your nearest store while supplies last.
Fister looking in at the rookie Joe Panik, who hit one about 415 to dead center field last time up. He's from Yonkers, New York, as I mentioned. Went to St. John's, hit 371 career there. Was a Golden Spikes semifinalist. And the Giants made him their first round guy in 11, 29th pick overall. Ryan Sabian and the Giants have done a good job of drafting. You know, they don't get to pick that high anymore, like the Nationals don't. And they've got a couple of their guys from the classes of 11 and 12 in the big leagues already. Great changeup by Fister. Inside the numbers with Jeep on Joe Panik. Another outfielder, John Jay, doing damage. Panik has 40 hits in his first 130 major league at bats.
St. John's University, and there was a former Giant shortstop, Richard Rillia, that went to St. John's.
Changeup. Desmond's got to go get this spinner, and there's no place to make a play. Cabrera didn't make any kind of move toward the second base bag. And Ian Desmond had a long way to go, and Joe Panik is 3 for 3.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out pieces together as Dribble Cabrera was going to first base on this. I think Ian Desmond actually looked to him, but you look how far he's playing a pull. And he started jogging over to first. I think he thought Ian was going to throw across the diamond, and he was going to back up the play based on the fact that he was playing Panik so far to pull. Only play Desmond had was to get Sandoval at second.
Big spot for Travis Ishikawa. Pfister has struck him out twice. Any hitter in the league with men on base dangerous when it's 2-0.
Pitch 105 coming. This could be his last hitter.
Ishikawa came in hot. Joined the Giants 20 games ago. He's hitting .350 in his return to San Fran. Only got 34 at bats. 7 hits with the Pirates. Well hit and just outside the bag.
And trying to keep it a 2-run deficit. And really having trouble. Look at his hat just dripping sweat. He's been rubbing his hand on his right thigh all night.
He hasn't pitched fewer than 6 innings in August. And that one to Cabrera. Casually on the backhand, made it look easy. Giants get a run on the Buster Posey 1-out home run, his 15th. Rendon, Worth, and LaRoche. Anthony tonight, a walk, a steal, a run. Leads the league with 89 scored this year. Once again on for the Big Boppers.
Always want to score early and take a lead into the late innings. I'm not breaking any news there, but for the Nats this series, scoring early and getting to Giants starters rather holds extra significance. The Giants have the 3rd best bullpen in the major leagues with a 2.61 ERA, and they have the best whip of any bullpen in the major leagues. That's walks plus hits allowed per inning. On top of that, the Giants are 49-5 this season when leading after 6. If there is a silver lining in all this, it's that the Nats have have the most wins of any team in the majors when trailing after 6 innings. So they've shown the ability to come back, especially lately. But that won't be easy this series against this San Francisco pen.
All right, Dan, thank you. And you saw Gregor Blanco. Don't know if something happened to Michael Morse, but it's a straight-up switch in left field after Michael Morse had 3 at-bats tonight.
Bruce Bochy, like a lot of managers, will go with his best defensive configuration, usually in the 8th or the 9th. Yeah, that's an early substitution if Morse is healthy.
Yeah. Hudson turns that one over and runs way inside to Rendon. Anthony 0 for 1 with a walk, a steal, a run scored.
And talk about Doug Fister's night, 107 pitches after 6 innings. That's something you don't see from Doug. And we were showing how he wiping his hands on his leg most of the night. And what really makes that odd to me is the Giants hack. They don't take pitches. They're a team that's first pitch hacking, and maybe they changed their game plan tonight against Doug and said, hey, let's make this guy work. But there's a lot of things that are head scratchers for what we've seen from Doug Fister and him having such a high pitch count after 6.
He threw 66 pitches in the last 3 innings. Rendon had a pitch to work with there. Off to the right it goes, 2-2. Nats box score. The walk, the steal, a LaRoche base hit, and the error by Panic on a throw from Posey got the Nats their run in the first. Couple of singles in between Harper and Fister. Worth a leadoff homer in the 4th, his 13th. Still waiting for another hit since that one. Tim Hudson 81 pitches into this inning. And Rendon out to right center. Down toward the end of the bat, Hunter Pence will make the call. You're seeing vintage Hudson. Hard to center the ball against him, but Worth did.
Yeah, the 61st pitch of the game from Tim Hudson went in the stands, and it looked like a changeup. The split change down in. Jason Worth caught it out front, rode it out of the yard. You see the patented swing, patented bat flip. And the hit speed 104 miles an hour on the Worth home run. Remember, our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers are donating $250 to the Children's National Medical Center for every home run a Nats player hits this season. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
It took Worth 24 at-bats to get Scott Olson 4 times, 30 to get John Lannon 4 times, and 43 at-bats to get Tim Hudson for the 4th time. Giants getting ready. Juan Gutierrez, the right-hander, and Javier Lopez, a former Virginia Cavalier, from the left side. One to Worth. And that one stayed up and in, 2-1.
Might have been a strike. I think it just fooled Jerry Meals with a late movement. Buster Posey was set up way outside and tailed right back down the middle.
And Worth takes that one over the outer half. Target away. Buster Posey way out there. And Worth will hit it into the right field corner, and Pence unable to reach it.
Well, you know Hunter Pence wanted to go in the stands and try to catch that. He just couldn't. Yeah, he plays hard every single day.
If he was a pitcher, he'd be Doug Fister. If Doug Fister was an outfielder, he'd be Hunter Pence. 2-2 to Worth. Fly ball to right, line drive, home run to left. And Worth reaches out again as Hudson continues to work him away.
Spoiling pitches, hoping for a better one. Good take, just missed. Seeing it big.
Tim Hudson has kept the Nats from getting consecutive hits tonight.
There's pitch track at this one. I mean, this could have went either way.
Three-two with one out. And Worth right up the middle. What a good at bat. Two more hits for Jason Worth tonight. His batting average on its way to .290.
Well, you lay off that borderline pitch and you get a better one. You go right back up the middle. Watch him get his hands inside this. Really fighting to get inside of the sinker. And then he makes the ball rotate the exact opposite way it came in because of the way he pulls his hands in. So right off the label, but because his hands were in the right slot, right back up the middle. And that might do it for Tim Hudson. Here's Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, we've talked about his pitch count tonight. It hasn't exactly been economical, so he'll go 5 1/3 and give the Nationals 5 hits to this point. Lefty Javier Lopez, the call to the bullpen, packaged by the UPS store. Your one-stop shop for all your small business needs. Let us handle your mailbox service needs. We love logistics. Lefty-lefty matchup, LaRoche and Lopez. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Well, Jason Worth gets the tying run into the batter's box. Javier Lopez having a good season, 2.03 ERA. 52nd appearance. Adam LaRoche, career against him, 0 for 8. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy didn't like the hacks that he was seeing off Adam LaRoche and Tim Hudson, so he went to the left-on-left matchup, and you see lefties hitting 200 against Lopez this year.
Lopez, born in San Juan, went to high school here in Fairfax at Robinson High School, and went on to the University of Virginia, where he won 12 games in his big league career, some of that, or rather college career, some as a starter and some out of the bullpen. And he was also an outstanding hitter, batted .319 at UVA. Target way out there by Buster Posey, and LaRoche overmatched by this lefty again. There aren't too many guys, even lefties, who have those kind of numbers against Adam LaRoche. Well, Ian Desmond now the tying run. He's only faced Lopez once, and it was a fly ball out.
Well, righties are hitting .205 against Lopez, and that's why Bruce Bochy's leaving his left-hander in to face Ian Desmond. And it features that changeup more to righties than lefties, so. This is still interesting to me.
Desmond is fouled out to the catcher, grounded out to short. And Brandon Crawford seems to be a magnet for ground balls tonight. Nats have hit several sharply right at him. They've stranded 3 in this game into the 7th. 4-2 Giants. They've out hit the Nats 7-5. Joe Panik, first big league homer. We'll see it in a moment. Jason Worth has gone deep for the Nats for the 13th time this year, and Buster Posey, he has hit his 15th for San Francisco.
Yeah, the big blow in the 4th inning. Joe Panik gets a fastball down the middle, drives it out to right center field. Didn't see that one coming. First major league home run for Panik. And then Buster Posey got a fastball with a lot of plate and drove it out to left field. So the 2 taters for the Giants. And Jerry Blevins trying to keep it a 2-run deficit. You see the arsenal from Blevins. Fastball, curveball, changeup.
Jerry Blevins and Brandon Crawford. They've had some interleague meetings before, and Jerry's was with the A's, and Crawford 0 for 4 against him. Giants at least now showing rookie infielder Matt Duffy on deck. Top of the 7th.
Lefty's just 10 for 78 this year against Jerry Blevins.
And a beauty of a curveball on 0-2 to strike him out. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Well, it's all about throwing strike for Blevins. His ERA when he doesn't walk a hitter is 2.70. When he comes in and walks somebody, it's 11.45. Wow. So he throws strikes. Tough to hit. And we just told you the lefty stats. That's a nasty curveball to Crawford.
Matt Duffy 5 for 25 with 2 RBIs as a big league hitter, 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter. 23-year-old infielder out of Long Beach. He went to Long Beach State. And the Giants took him in the 18th round 2 years ago. So another one of their recent draft choices on a fast track to the big leagues.
Well, there's a lot of Nats fans that have probably seen these guys play before because they all stopped in Richmond.
That's their Double-A.
Giants Double-A, Richmond Squirrels.
He was there until 3 weeks ago. And hit .332 with 62 RBIs, 24 doubles, and 53 runs. And then Blevins misses 3 times in a row.
Well, you would think down the stretch with Blevins with such good numbers against lefties, and you have 3 lefties in your bullpen, that he might be a lefty specialist guy late in the season.
He's worked the count back full now. 1 out, 7th inning. Angel Pagan on deck, and a 3-2. Threw him a strike and got a fly ball to right for Worth. Good battle back by Jerry Blevins. 2 outs.
RBI Baseball is back with all 30 major league teams and 2014 players. Get the Retro 2 button style baseball game you've been missing. Visit RBI.game.com for more details and download today on your console or your mobile device.
Angel Pagan 1 for 3. He's been robbed of 2 hits, one by Span, one by Cabrera. And he's 1 for 1 career against Blevins with a double. Jerry Blevins' 53rd appearance. That'll be 1 more than Rafael Soriano. And Clippard leads the staff. Tyler's pitched in 59 games this season.
I'm just thinking right now about what's transpired here the last 10 days. And you're wondering if the Nats have enough left in that tank to do it one more time. I mean, it takes so much mental energy as well as physical energy to do what they've done in the last 10 days. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, do they have enough to do it again?
Yeah.
That's asking a lot, man. I mean, the focus, the determination, And even the physicalness of it all, because you're playing the extra innings and playing long games and standing out there for a long time, eventually all that's going to take its toll. And it might take its toll for more than one game. You naturally have a little lull after you go on a hot streak, just because you're really, really grinding. And I think even more mentally than physically. You know, the highs, the lows, the roller coaster we've all been on as fans. Imagine doing that as a player, but the concentration level that they've had to have for the last 10 games, how high that's had to be. We'll see. It's asking a lot.
Well, a lot of one-run games in there. 7 of the 10. And a 3-2 from Blevins. Pagan rips it. And Bryce Harper gets a piece of it. Keeps it close enough with 2 outs for Pagan to stay at first. He's had 4 really good at-bats tonight. 2 hits to show for it. It's a good thing Bryce got a piece of that ball. Pagan would be standing on third base right now.
Well, it's a good gamble with 2 outs. He's trying to end the inning. If it gets by him, it might have been more than 2 bases or 3 bases. He's throwing the glove on it, stopping it, scrambled to his feet quick, got it in. Good effort.
There's Hunter Pence. Pence facing Blevins for the first time. That time Jerry had the runner Pagan moving backward to the bag. Top of the 7, Giants 4-2. They've out hit the Nationals 8-5. Washington 1 hit since the 3rd, actually 2 now with Worth. He's had both of them, the home run and the single. And Pagan taking a bit of a lean towards second, kind of daring Blevins to throw over.
Now that was the A move from Jerry right there. He pulled it out.
Pagan an extra step on his lead. He's holding. And a big rip by Pence. Straight back and win. Braves continue to lead 1-0 in the 7th inning at Cincinnati. Reds have lost 6 in a row. So the Nats still 7 up. 10 on the Marlins, who have 2 early runs at Colorado. Mets are at the Dodgers later. 7th inning up in Philly. They lead St. Louis 5-4. 1-2 pitch.
I think Pagan's got a good read on Jerry Blevins right now. He just looked at Roberto Kelly, shook his head yes.
He's 12 for 17 this year. Has 145 career steals. His back bugging him. He was out 44 games earlier this year. Holding. Breaking ball came right back in. And Jerry Blevins with his 2nd strikeout and a scoreless 7th gets this one to the stretch. Giants have left 4. The Nats have stranded 3. Bryce Harper will lead off, bottom of the 7th inning. Ramos and Cabrera to follow. It's the Honda 7th inning stretch. Big crowd at the ballpark tonight. 6, 7, 8 coming up. Game, and we would be 2 of those the way things have gone recently, but the Giants are solid. They've got a good bullpen. Gene Michie will be next in their rotation after Javier Lopez did a good job. This is a good ball club, playoff aspirations of their own. This should be quite a series.
It should be quite a series. And just getting back to what I was talking to last inning, you wonder how much is left in that tank for these guys. Obviously the swagger's there, obviously the belief is there, but being able to step on that gas pedal right now one more time, you're just wondering if they have what it takes to come back, and who knows? I mean, like you said, long way to go in this ball game.
Yeah, Jason Worth, the only 2 Nationals hits since the first 3 innings of the ball game, a home run and a base hit for him. So it's going to be time for the bottom of the order to get something done here. Gene Michie, his repertoire as he comes in.
Well, they played the outfield, Your Love, for the 7th inning song tonight, and the fans were singing it. I liked it. They were hitting the chorus with the Tonight. Big Friday night crowd into it. Nicely done.
Michie, 58th appearance of the year and a 1.50 ERA. Bryce Harper facing him for the first time. Bryce was banged up on the DL when the Nats were in San Fran earlier. Ryan Zimmerman was playing left field at that time and doing quite well.
Michie with a good fastball, but the changeup is his pitch. You see it there at 85. His fastball go mid-90s, and he's started this one up with a couple of changeups to Bryce. Signed with the Phillies out of a tryout. Got a bonus of $58,000 in 2000.
Hasn't allowed a hit involving 17 batters his last 7 times out. Ross Detweiler for the Nationals. And Harper down on strikes. Bryce 1 for 3 tonight. Inside the numbers with Jeep. And when trailing after the 6th, these are the 2 most battling teams in the major leagues. We mentioned earlier, they both have great records when they score first, but they don't always hold those leads, and they battle back and are tough to take care of. Strike one. Front door to Wilson Ramos. Also facing Michie for the first time. Ramos a strikeout and a fly ball to right. And Michie keeping that ball down. He has really taken care of two good hitters here.
All right, we promised you early in the game. Here's your AT&T fan photo. Good-looking family at the yard. Loving the eye black. It's a great smile, and there's no crumbs on your face at all. Having fun crushing food at the yard. I love it.
Kevin Franzen, former Giant, if the inning continues. Jerry Blevins, 20 pitches, 13 strikes in the 7th inning, giving up a hit, striking out 2. And here's Cabrera, also seeing this right-hander for the first time. He's been a strike thrower. He's missed with 1 pitch to 3 batters.
Well, the changeup he threw Bryce for strike 3 and the changeup he threw Wilson Ramos for strike 3 were both absolutely nasty.
And Cabrera pulls it to the second baseman, Joe Panik. The Nats go quickly, and again only 2 hits, both by Worth in the middle innings. 8th inning coming up. Giants 4-2. Tim Lincecum has been roughed up by the Nats in his career. He's 1-5 with a 6.08 ERA, and Jordan Zimmerman against the Giants 4-2 with a 2.89 earned run average career against San Francisco. Something's got to give tomorrow, right? 3:30 Nats Extra on Masson 2. First pitch 4:05. Jordan 8-5. He'll be making his 26th start. Another frame for Jerry Blevins in a tough matchup here. Buster Posey seeing each other for the first time. Good off-speed pitch.
Yeah, last at bat, 8th pitch. His 15th home run of the year.
0-2, and Blevins is taking a little bit off, keeping it away from the pull side here late in the game.
Well, there's a lot of talk about Buster Posey moving to first base, and when you look at the numbers, he's hitting .385 as a first baseman this year compared to .265 as a catcher. Small sample size at first, though, just 20 starts versus 87 behind the dish.
And I've been told they like their backup catcher, young Andrew Susac, a lot. They think he can be an everyday catcher someday soon. This in the air, Bryce Harper. 8th inning underway, and Jerry Blevins is retired. 4 of the 5 he's faced.
All right, the first place Nats and Masson want you to show your support for the team by using hashtag #IBackTheNats throughout August and September, and hopefully longer. Tweet and Instagram using the tag to connect with other fans and to be able to be eligible to win exclusive prizes from Masson. I back the Nats, I back the Mats.
Here's Pablo Sandoval. Blevins has retired him. If this throw is good, 4 times in their matchups. Ian Desmond takes care of business, 2 quick outs. This will be Gregor Blanco with his first at bat of the night. Came into play left field in the 6th inning. Blanco 1 for 5 career against Jerry Blevins.
Well, I feel like if the ball club is running on fumes tonight, that the fans at home have to help out. And anybody that had the rallying home has to grab it for the bottom of the 8th. Doug Fister's been squeezing the heck out of that thing. It's been working, so maybe everybody else gets it together and we'll see what happens. Why not?
Outside 2-0.
That is not the rally gnome. It's an imposter.
And now 3-0. Jerry losing the release point on the fastball there. 3 balls, no strikes. Bottom of this inning, pitcher spot due up. Blevins trying to get this thing 2 innings on the scoreless side for him in the ball club. And he gets the count back to 3-2. Nissan will track it.
That's challenge fastball 90. Here it is, hit it. Got to throw a strike, and he did.
Every time the Nats strike out an opposing hitter, and it's happened 5 times tonight. $37 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. That's thanks to the generosity of our DC area Toyota dealers. 3-2 again, target outer half. Blevins misses on the other side. And Gregor Blanco, 13 of 17 stealing bases this year. That brings in the rookie Joe Panik, who's had a perfect night. A night to remember for him with his first major league homer, the big blow of this game, a 3-run shot in the 4th. Busted bat, base hit. All the way, and not trying to go to third now is Blanco. He went around the bag, decided to come back. 2 on, 2 out.
Now Blanco at third easy. Not a big deal with 2 outs by any means. But the ball not hit hard by Panic, and Jason Worth had to go a long way for this ball, and Blanco could have been standing on third. Kind of pulls up, maybe had to hold up and let the ball get through, but watch this. Yeah, he would have been there easily.
Yeah, Jason kind of moving toward the right field line to get that one. Well, here comes another 2 out. Something going on by the Giants. Steve McCaddy to the mound. It's a lefty-lefty matchup with Blevins and Travis Ishikawa. The two haven't faced each other before. And Ross Detweiler really heating things up now. Well, Joe Panic had 38 hits and 128 at bats coming in. And he has his first big league 4-hit night.
We had a big series for the Giants when they came to play the Mets, coming home for the first time. Had a huge series at Citi Field, and he's in the same vicinity right now, and he starts this one off with 4 knocks.
He's batting .318 now as a big leaguer. Ishikawa 2 strikeouts and a ground ball against Doug Fister. It's still 1-0 in Cincinnati, and Mike Minor has worked 7 innings of no-hit ball for the Braves.
There's 2 Giants base runners right now, so you'd think 4 hands. There's really only 2 hands with 2 runners. But they're doing it the right way because Blanco has his left hand available and Panic has his right hand available. So if you put them together, they have 2 hands. But I feel like
and a chance to cook something.
It's like batting gloves now. When you hit, guys wearing the mitts on the bases to protect their hands. Blanco's got a different version. His fingers are coming through. Panic's got the classic Zimmer mitt.
That ball well hit, heading for the scoreboard, and it is off the board. Blanco scores. Panic around third. Relay from Cabrera. Was there a tag? No. And the Giants lead 6-2. And again, just like the 4th inning, this all starts with 2 outs. In this case, a walk.
Yeah, it looked like Jerry Blevins was cruising. We told you the stat earlier, his ERA with walks and without. So the ERA without a walk, 2.70. With a walk, 11.45. So the 2-out walk comes in to score. And the single by Panic comes in to score. And all of a sudden, this is a 6-2 game. And the Giants tacking on a couple extra here in the 8th when it looked like it was going to be a 2-run deficit. Now it's 4.
Front door breaking ball to Crawford. And a missed. Brandon Crawford 0 for 4 career against Jerry Blevins. Two and 0. And the heater is in there.
Well, it looks like the damage is done. Very important to keep this to a 1-swing game, meaning within slam range. So a big out if you can get Crawford.
Yeah, 20 pitches in the 7th. And that one right off the end of the bat. Blevins goes to get it and fires it to LaRoche. But the Giants do lots of 2-out damage. 2 runs on a couple of hits and a very costly walk. The Nats are down by 4. 6 outs with which to work. by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. And by Coons. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Now they love it the way Denard goes and gets the ball. He'll be batting second here in the 8th. It's getting late for the Nats, down by 4. It'll be Franzen, Span, and Rendon. Kevin Franzen, drafted by the Giants in 2004 in the 12th round. Paid his dues, 6 years in the minor leagues. In 4 seasons. Up and down with the Giants. He's 0 for 1 career against Gene Machie, who stays in for the 8th inning.
I'll load him up and see what happens.
Fastball, they got the call, inside edge, 1-1. Franzen didn't like it.
Just filling up the strike zone. A little bit of a hanger right there, but he was looking for the heater.
Kevin 10 for 37 as a pinch hitter. Great work this year. Looked like he held. And Jerry Meals didn't bother to let the appeal happen down to first.
He's going spread out, choke up, flip it to right mode right here. 2-2 count.
Franzen, hard hit, line drive right at Crawford. Denard Span coming up. Dan has more.
Bob, one of Denard Span's good friends has joked with him for years about how he has 2 personalities. The half-named Denard is quiet, likes laying low, and is afraid to make mistakes on the baseball field. Span is the other half of the alter ego. That half is confident, smooth, and lets his athletic ability loose on the field. In past years with the Twins, Span told me that he would question himself if he got caught stealing or erred in some way. But since the second half of last year, he started feeling more confident, more willing to trust his ability. Span admits that 2 or 3 years ago, if he had reached base in a tie game in the 9th, he wouldn't have taken off for fear of getting thrown out. But last night, Span says he knew he'd be safe if he tried to swipe second, and he was. In Minnesota, he says the Span side of the alter ego went into hiding a little bit, but recently, the Nats center fielder says he's been feeling like the Span more often than not.
Well, the Span is 3 steals away from 30, a figure he has stated he would love to get to. Right now, the Nats need base runners any way they can get them.
So it was the biggest stolen base of his career yesterday.
Yeah.
Because it meant so much. Everybody knew he was going to go. He knew he had to get into scoring position. Stole the base, and you know the rest. So does Denard wear glasses and really reserved? And then when he's Span, he just puts a cape on and. Because I've never seen the 2 in the same room before. I think that's really weird.
Rips it to left. Ball tailing away from Blanco. He's going to grab it anyway. And that was a fair ball when he made that catch. Gregor Blanco. Full speed to the line.
Well, Bruce Bochy making the right move. I don't think Michael Morse gets to that ball, but Gregor Blanco does. And simply because, A, he's faster, but B, he's left-handed, so his glove is toward the line. Right-hander, you have to reach across your body right there. Nice running play. Might have been fair, might have been foul, but either way, it's an out.
Anthony Rendon 0 for 2 of the walk.
I think he's just getting back to the Denard thing. That's just more if he's growing as a Major League Baseball player. He's in a new league now that he's very familiar with. It's not a new town for him anymore. He loves it in D.C. And he can phrase it however he wants with multiple personalities or whatever. That's just his way of saying he's more confident now. He has more swagger to his game, which we didn't see here when he first got here because it was still a feeling out process for him. But now all of a sudden you realize, hey, I'm one of the best leadoff hitters in baseball. I'm one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. And I'm doing things that I've never done before. So it's more just of a confidence level. And we could have fun with Denard and we can have fun with Span all we want. And what he says is his alter ego. But the bottom line is he's just gaining confidence as a player. And he knows he's one of the better players in baseball. It's a very humble way of him putting it. Tried to quick pitch him right there. See that?
Yeah, Rendon, and it just missed. Good take. Probably had to take it. And Rendon has to reach to stay alive. Gene Machie keeping the ball away from him here.
All that said, I think it'd be really cool if maybe in the bottom of the ninth one day they put a spotlight up in the sky in right field with a big S in it for Span. Like the bat signal.
One and two. Worth on deck. The only man with a hit. In fact, two of them since the third inning. So Rendon trying to do anything he can to get aboard here. Give Jason a chance to take a bite out of that Giants lead. Sergio Romo has been warming up this entire half inning. Jeremy Affeld's been out there with him for a part of the time.
Fans into it. Seeing if there's a little magic left.
Up the middle, and Anthony Rendon is on for the second time tonight.
Great at bat. Looks like Bruce Bochy is ready to make a change. Jason Worth waiting, looking into the Giants dugout, and here comes the Giants skipper.
Yeah, he's kind of playing this game like it's 4-2, not 6-2. So Machie, an inning and 2/3. That's the first base runner he's given up. Couple of strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. Up next for the Nationals, Jason Worth, a big night, 2 for 3 with a long home run.
Anthony Rendon on first. Jason Worth about to face Sergio Romo. But let's go back to the 4th inning. Jason Worth versus Tim Hudson. 61st pitch from Hudson. Looked like a split that Worth caught out front, rode into the left field bleachers, and we said the ballpark is playing very small tonight. Ball jumping, and Jason Worth with his 13th home run of the year to get the Nats on the board. You see Sergio Romo, look at that, 51% sliders. And it's a no-dot slider. When you talk to hitters, they say they have trouble picking up the rotation on it. It mimics a fastball and then breaks late.
Not having a big year by his standards. 4.18 ERA, 23 saves. He's blown 5, and here he is in the 8th inning. Jason Worth 2 for 3 against Romo, career 0 for 5 with a base on balls.
Yeah, Romo used to be the closer for the Giants. And he had a big-time scuffle after the Nats left San Francisco, and Bruce Bochy made a change.
Yeah. Santiago Casilla has 11 saves. Romo more comfortable lately, scoreless, 13 of his last 14 appearances. The Reds have just tied the game in the bottom of the 8th inning on their first hit of the night. It was after Mike Minor had walked his 4th batter. And it's 1-1 in Cincinnati.
Yeah, Romo was relieved of his closer duty on June 29th. He blew 3 of 5 saves, allowing 9 runs on 10 hits and just 4 1/3.
There's that frisbee breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Now that's the no-doubter. It's tough to pick up. For those of you that don't know, usually on the slider you see a little dot on there. You read the rotation and you realize that it's going to break. But when you talk to hitters, it's tough to pick up on Romo based on his grip and his release point. You really can't pick up that dot.
6-2 Giants. Rendon at first, 2 down. Reaching and can't get there. This ball game is into the 9th inning. San Francisco pitching tough against the Nats tonight.
And just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. I picked this one. I wanted to show you some good Asdrubal Cabrera defense because, frankly, I didn't want to see more Giants home runs. So we're going to show you some leather thrown around by Asdrubal tonight. This one's just ridiculous. I think first base is over there. That's where I remember it being. So I'm just going to turn and throw this one. like I said earlier, routine for the smooth fielding second baseman of the Washington Nationals. I see the arsenal for Ross Detweiler. Fastball, fastball, fastball. He's got a fastball and then a curveball and a changeup to go with it. 37th appearance for Ross. Lefty's hitting .222.
Joaquin Arias will be the pinch hitter for the pitchers. So Romo got his setup job done tonight. Arias 1 for 4 career against Ross Detweiler. And that one out of play to the right side. 9-1-2 for the Giants here, top 9. Up the middle. Desmond. Good effort. Couldn't get there. And the Giants have gathered 11 hits against the Nationals tonight.
A nice piece of hitting right there. Had a fastball in. About like one of Jason Worsnock's tonight. He pulled his hands in, fought it up the middle.
Arias' 4th pinch hit of the year. In 16 at bats. Top of the order now, Angel Pagan. And the fastball up and away. Pagan career 4 for 11. A walk, a double against the Nats left-hander.
Starting with the changeup grip right there. It's a good shot of it. Different for a guy that throws fastball almost 90% of the time to start with the changeup grip.
And the 1-1 fastball inside. And a bouncer, Cabrera, looking to tag and do a double play again, but it doesn't work out. Everybody is safe. This time Cabrera had the runner go by him, and he chose to throw to first, and LaRoche dropped it. First inning, they got them both. This time, they got nobody.
Well, LaRoche just in too big of a hurry to relay the throw. He was going to get rid of it quick and get Arias at second base. You see him peek up before he caught it. That was a difference. So in essence, LaRoche was turning the double play right here, but he just took his eye off the ball. You see him looking out at Arias. So just a hair too quick, took his eye off, and now the Giants in business with runners at first and second, nobody out.
Fielder's choice, E3, Adam LaRoche, 6th error of the year. Hunter Pence, the hitter. Pence against Detweiler, 1 for 3.
So Ross has made 2 pretty good pitches and finds himself with runners on first and second, nobody out.
And a ball hit hard to center. Span over to get it. Easily scoring from second base is Arias, and the Giants lead 7-2. First hit in 5 at-bats for Hunter Pence tonight. And his 55th RBI.
Nice piece of hitting by Pence. Line drive kind of pushes Denard Span back. You see a little hesitation by Arias right there at third base. Tim Flannery, Giants third base coach, waving like crazy. 7-2 game.
Here's Buster Posey. He's 1 for 4 tonight, 6th inning home run. Gave the Giants a 4-2 lead. That is foul outside third and grabbed by Rendon. Buster Posey against Ross Detweiler career 1 for 1 with a couple of walks.
Well, I think you're finding out what takes more energy out of you. Winning 10 straight, and a lot of them in dramatic fashion are getting in at 8 in the morning.
And Detweiler, a 2-2 pitch driven to right center. Denard Span eyeing it, can't get it. It's off the bottom of the scoreboard. Pagan coming home, over to third, Hunter Pence. And the Giants are turning this one into a laugher. It's 8-2 San Francisco. And Buster Posey, his 2nd RBI tonight.
Well, you heard me, Cart, before the game. I was talking to my old college coach. I said, when this ends, it's going to end. That's the way it goes when you spend so much energy and fight so hard for so long. It's going to be not pretty when the win streak finally comes to an end. And didn't think it would happen tonight, but it is. And like Matt Williams said in his press conference today, he knew they're not going to win every single game the rest of the year.
There's Pablo Sandoval. He turned around, bat right-handed against Ross Detweiler. He takes a big-time rip. Three hits in the inning, an error, a fielder's choice, still nobody out. And the Giants runners at 2nd and 3rd. Sandoval hammers one high in the air. Span out there in center. Tagging at 3rd is Pence. Both runners moving up, and it's 9-2. That'll bring in Gregor Blanco, who drew that 2-out walk. That was just last inning against Jerry Blevins. Ball game was 4-2 at the time. And the Giants now have scored 5 runs since. Infield in. Runner at 3rd, Buster Posey. Base hit. Giants have 10 runs.
And Steve McCaddy going to come out and talk to Ross Detweiler. 14 hits for the Giants. And based on my experiences, when you have a rough travel day, it always gets you the second day. So we'll see how the Giants react to getting into the rooms around 8 this morning. But tonight, they've definitely answered the bell big time.
Yeah. 10 runs on 14 hits. The Nats had some good swings early against Tim Hudson, and being the veteran guy that he is, they just couldn't break through. Got the unearned run in the first, they were on their way, and then that swing by the rookie Joe Panik really changed the whole atmosphere of this game. Detweiler and the rookie Panik, who's 4 for 4. 3 singles, 2 runs, and a 3-run home run. That ball left field line. Foul. Just foul.
I'll tell you what, based on one day, I'd say he got a good swing. When you talk to Giants people about Joe Panik, they say he's just a baseball player, finds a way to get it done. Not a tools guy, but a couple hits to the pull side tonight, gone the other way. You talked about the big home run. Starting to settle in as a major leaguer.
He's driven in runs at every level. On his way to the big leagues. And there's a little bouncer to the right side. Detweiler to cover. LaRoche to him. Ross reached back, got it. 2 down. 8th Giant to bat will be Travis Ishikawa. New for 2015 tickets and the status you deserve. It's called Nats Plus for full and half season plan holders. Experiences, rewards, access, autograph opportunities, team store discounts. So buy it now. You'll get priority for 2014 postseason tickets. The number 202-675-NATS. And of course the website as well. Travis Ishikawa 1 for 4 in that big double last inning that busted this game open.
If for some reason the Nats don't pull out a miracle tonight, and that's obviously asking tons, you would think that after the last out, they're going to get a standing ovation by Nats fans for the run they just put on, right? I mean, you'd think.
No? I hope so.
So much more baseball to be played, but it was a nice little piece of the season that I'll never forget.
Inning over. Detweiler strikes out Ishikawa. So the Giants in that inning put a bunch more on the board, and they lead 10-2.
Ray Knight, inviting you to stick around, and we'll try to make some sense of this with our Nats Extra postgame show. But, boy, the Giants came in just swinging from their heels tonight, didn't they?
They did, and they had a young rookie that had a big night. Panic 4 hits, his first Major League home run, facing Pfister, a guy that didn't know really him very much, and just got a fastball right there, Johnny. You know, it all started after Pfister's retired 12 out of 13 guys in an infield base hit, and then another base hit just by the outstretched glove of Desi, and then a bomb. So, but hey, look, if they put it on you, they might as well put it on you big, because it only counts as one loss. So.
Well, as Matt Williams said, you're not going to win all the rest of the ball games this year. You're going to lose 1 or 2, 35 more to go after this. But this game's not over yet, is it? We have seen stranger things happen.
We've seen a lot of strange things happen. No, I'm going to say it is not over, because we have been on a run, and who knows? Let's go get it.
That's correct. Let's go back up to Bob at FP and see if they know.
Johnny, we have no idea. That's why they play. And we'll see how it goes here in the bottom of the 9th inning. The new pitcher will be Juan Gutierrez.
Fastball 94, slider 84, curveball change to go with it. Ray Knight doing his best Animal House speech right there. It's not over till we say it is. I like it. Shot of that little Nata dude. He still believes.
Adam LaRoche leads off, bottom of the 9th. The LaRoche career against Gutierrez, 0 for 1. Adam got the base hit first time up. Gets that one out to left center, almost where Travis Ishikawa was standing. He has moved from first base to left field, and he has it for the first out. Joaquin Arias stays in the ball game, plays first base, and Ishikawa has moved to left field, made that play. And Gregor Blanco has moved over to center field. So Angel Pagan gets the rest of the night off.
Well, wouldn't it be something if the Reds walked off the Braves tonight? 1-1 game, bottom of the 9th.
Well, the Pirates walked them off the other night.
Just saying, you know the whole walk-off thing.
If you drop a ball game, you hope for a little help. We'll see. Ian Desmond 0 for 3. And against Gutierrez, career 0 for 2.
Good take. Borderline pitch.
Any other 9th inning, that's a walk-off wild pitch.
I think pitch track had it as a strike. It's close.
Two 2-0 the count. And it's upstairs with 93. .405 game tomorrow. Jordan Zimmerman right there. Going to be grabbing the ball at .405 and taking on Tim Lincecum, who certainly has had his struggles against the Nationals. Ian Desmond on a ball that hit the stone and came back to home plate. He's aboard with 1 out.
Another good take.
It's only the Nationals' 3rd base runner since the 4th inning.
All right, Michael Taylor jumping in the box.
Batting for Bryce Harper, Michael Taylor. First major league home run last week in New York. A key walk in a ball game on this homestand that helped the Nats get to a walk-off point. Strike 1.
I was thinking a 10-2 game. Matt Williams getting Bryce off his feet. giving Michael Taylor a chance to get some hacks in.
And Taylor will take it well outside.
Chilling.
Off-speed pitch, well inside, 2-1. And that one off the end of his bat, high in the air, right field. Hunter Pence, 2 outs. And Wilson Ramos will be the final hope of the Nats.
Well, if you're Matt Williams, tell your club when you walk in the clubhouse, start a new one tomorrow.
Ramos 1-for-1 career against Gutierrez with a double. And Ian Desmond's going to go ahead and take second base. Well, the Pirates haven't, or rather the Reds haven't walked off the Braves yet. Didn't score in the ninth. They're going to extra innings in Cincinnati. And that ball low and inside, 1-1.
Yeah, 35 games left. This time to start looking. Been peeking at that scoreboard all night, I'll admit it.
And a 1-1 to Wilson. Now a ball well outside. Ramos trying to reach it. Gets a piece of it. Stays alive. Hole for 3 tonight. Couple of strikeouts. Tim Hudson about to get his record evened at 9-9. Doug Fister would be 12-4. And a 1-2 pitch.
Badly, not giving any at-bats away. I like it.
front door again. He's tried that several times with a couple of right-handed hitters. Desmond and Ramos both laying off, and the count's even 2-2. And a drive to right center. Ramos gets one on the ground. That'll drive in Desmond all the way to the scoreboard. And Wilson Ramos checks in with his 34th RBI.
If they rally and win this, Matt Williams has to dress like Babe Ruth the rest of the year. Hey, we'll just give him number 3, put a pillow in his jersey, and make him hold the bat left-handed in the dugout with a hot dog in his right hand. Nice at-bat by Wilson. Just what I'm talking about. Don't give any at-bats away. Grind them all out because they all count. Nicely done.
And it's right in there to Danny Espinosa. Pardon me, Cabrera batting now, Espinosa on deck. If it gets down to the pitcher's spot, as Drupal Cabrera 0 for 3. One ball, one strike. As Drupal 0 for 3 tonight. He has faced Gutierrez before, 1 for 4 with a triple. Gutierrez has come in with an 8-run lead and thrown nearly 20 pitches here in the 9th inning.
And a lot of off speed too. Not really challenging hitters and attacking the strike zone or going after anybody. You know, that's his thing. That's his thing. But usually, when you have an 8-run lead, you're more aggressive.
Two-one pitch, and he got the inside edge with that one.
Cabrera did not like that call, and that's what I'm talking about. He's still grinding. Down 7 runs, not giving any at-bats away. He thought it was in. I see a little turn of the body after the call.
(10-3) ball game. The Nats battling right down to the end. And a 2-2. Cabrera swinging a foul tip. It didn't stay in Buster Posey's mitt. And that might be their backup catcher who's in there, Andrew Susak. It is. Cabrera, it's high.
Well, at least Bruce Bochy's had to get up another reliever. So that's not a bad thing if you're the Nats. You're Jeremy Affeldt getting loose in the Giants bullpen. Probably thinking, am I really going in this game?
3-2 now to Cabrera.
Typical Cabrera at bat right here. Just seems like he always makes the pitcher work.
And he misses away. This ninth inning turning into another red-eye flight for the Giants. And it'll get down to the number 9 spot with Danny Espinosa as Dave Righetti heads for the mound.
Probably just going to go over Danny Espinosa real quick and try to tighten up his right-hander. Maybe tell him be a little more aggressive with the fastball in the zone. I mean, a 10-6 game would be interesting with 2 outs, wouldn't it?
Well, a good battle by Cabrera. Couple of walks, a double by Ramos in the inning. Danny Espinosa 0 for 1 career against Gutierrez. And that's outside.
Just loving the off speed, but not throwing it for strikes.
And Danny Espinosa got a piece of it. Count is 1-1. Confirms from Jerry Meals it was a strike.
I've asked umpires that before. Is that a strike? And they say, yeah, you swung at it. I said, thanks for nothing. Really.
Yeah, it helps you in your next pitch, right?
Well, you're asking if I wouldn't have swung. Was it a strike? So there's been times when you say, hey, is that a strike? And they say, yeah, because you swung. Oh, okay, thanks. Thanks for the help. Appreciate that.
Tried to bring in the fastball or the breaking ball from the side door. Wouldn't come back.
Yeah, that pitch hasn't worked yet. Not tonight. He's usually got a really good one, but it hasn't been in the zone at all.
Wow. I'd back out too.
High strike right here from Gutierrez. Gets the call. And Espinosa still talking to Jerry Meals. He thought it was high.
And a ball popped up and back out of play. And this is about to be a 30-pitch inning with an 8-run lead. Now 7. Espinosa, foul tip, game over. And no miracle tonight going into the bottom of the 9th. Down by that much, not much the Nationals could do except battle. They got a run, the winning streak is over, and for one night, no magic at the ballpark.
Well, I just want to personally thank those guys for one of the best 10 days I've ever had in Major League Baseball. It was an amazing ride, and there's more to come. You start a new streak tomorrow, and there's more thrills and chills and enjoying the ride in the future. But what a run by these guys, and how many thrills did they give all of us, and there's more to come.
Now the Giants had to stretch a little bit after their wee hours arrival in D.C. last night. So they take the first game of the 3-game series 10-3 tomorrow, 4 o'clock. It'll be a good pitching matchup again. Tim Lincecum, Jordan Zimmerman, that's extra 3:30. This has been a presentation of Masson. Now stay tuned for Johnny and Ray. So long for just a while.